that's anything new. All right. Yeah, so this is so exciting, and I have to say, I have like a space station going on here. You could only see the piano and some nice little props. If you only saw what's around me, it's like spaghetti land of cables, spaghetti land of equipment, of microphones, of like just strange gear and gadgetry. And it's just been a crazy thing here. Oh, Sudie is here. Hi, the Schneiders are here. And Karen, hey, Karen, from Trenton, Florida. And we have Washington, D.C. here in the house represented. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So Karen, is it warm and balmy in Florida? I sure hope so. And we have Bartek, hey, from Michigan. It must be cold there too. All right. My husband is saying this is a first trial for us with the live streaming. So if there's any problems at all, if you can't hear me or something, just let me know in the chat and we'll be trying to fix it as we go. So let me just introduce you a little bit to myself. It's like so silly the way I said that. But my name is Margaret Wasik, and I play piano. And mostly I play classical piano, but today I'm going to be playing a mixture of classical piano and some Christmas music, and maybe some words of inspiration. Hey, Jamie's here. Hi there, from Hawthorne, New Jersey. And I'm a Jersey girl. Yes, Jersey. Jersey is special. Jersey is special. So, yes, and I'll tell you, this live streaming, I have to say, it just sort of happened because I got hired to play piano temporarily to replace an organist who left a local church. And I got a call like in October saying, Margaret, we're sort of stranded. We don't have a pianist, and we're reopening for the first time since March. We've been closed for the virus, and we're reopening, and we don't have a pianist. Could you just substitute until we get ourselves back on track? I said, okay. You know, I said the because I was like, oh, now I have to get my, like piano music out and actually start working on that and wear a different hat. So I started to do that, and it became such a joy for me. I started to play these hymns again and get in touch with this wonderful music, and I was so excited. And so I had 2 services, only 2, and right before the first Advent, they had to close because the numbers in New Jersey for the COVID have been rising, and so they had to close. And I was like, wait, what about Christmas music? I kind of wanted to play the piano. So that's when I said, maybe I should live stream. And that's why I'm here today. And so I'm thanking you so much for joining me. And let me ask you something. Are there any is one special Christmas tradition that you're looking forward to this year? And it might be different. Maybe because of the situation in the world right now, maybe your tradition will be different. But maybe you could give me just some detail about your one Christmas tradition that you're really looking forward to this year. I would love to know. So for me, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to this year is just actually baking cookies with my mom and my daughters. Hopefully they will be available. I have a college-age daughter and a high school senior, and so both of them are so busy with their things and stuff. But just the thing of baking, that is what I'm looking forward to. And I wonder what you're looking forward to tradition-wise. But let's first get started with a little music, and then we'll break it up with some more chatting, and we'll just see how long this goes or until one of my camera dies. How about that? Is that a plan? Okay. All right. So let's just start off by taking a deep breath and appreciating the fact, despite the difficulties of this year, it's also brought so much light and illumination. We have been illuminated about our life, right? Illuminated about the things that are really important. Illuminated in the heart, hopefully, and illuminated in our mind too. And I'd like to start off this broadcast with a very well-known piece of music by Bach. It's his first prelude in C major. And I choose that because it is, for Bach, the first step on a very long journey. The journey that Bach takes is in his 2-book series, which is one of the monuments of classical music, called the Well-Tempered Clavier. He starts in the key of C major, and then he is going to take a trip through all the keys: C minor, C sharp major, C sharp minor, and going on and on and on until we get through all 12 major and minor keys. And so it is filled with, each one of the keys has a prelude and a fugue. And a fugue is a very elaborate piece of music. But what makes this important, I think, and what makes me choose this for our particular time right now, is that we are in the process of reinventing right now something new. We're sort of in the first steps process of just dealing with this year and what the new year holds. We're still very much in the baby steps. And I think about when Bach wrote this piece, he was encountering something very new. Now he would be able to play in all 12 keys without having to retune the instrument, which it was a massive breakthrough at the time. So as I play this, I'd like you to focus on one wish for the newness of the season. It's a time of renewal. It's a time of inner peace. It's a time of inner joy. So perhaps as I play this beautiful sparkling piece in the very sunshiny key of C major, just if I could invite you to tune in to the new steps on your journey at this time. dry cookies. I looked at that comment just now. Dry cookies. Is that what you are looking for? My husband says dry cookies. He thinks that I bake dry. And that's the reason that he says that, is because the other day I tried to bake sourdough bread. Okay? And if you want the recipe, I'll share it with you. However, I will share also my mistake, which is I didn't add water. And I did it in the bread maker. And thanks to our dear friend Mark Wiener, who I will speak about in a second, we had a starter, like this like cool yeasty stuff. And so I just threw it all in the bread maker, which my husband had to resurrect from the recesses of the garage, covered in like cobwebs and like dust after 10 years. So we're making bread now. Okay. But I didn't add any water. Why? Because they said that if you put oil, it should be more crispy. And so I said, well, okay, I'll just put oil and no water. So now he hates everything dry. That's why he's saying that. Joe Wise, how are you, my friend? It's so good to see you. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Karen. That's so kind. I always tell everybody, it takes a lot of paper clips and plaster at this point in life to get myself together. Okay, dry. Yes. Thank you, Mark Milky. Thank you. I'm not the best of bakers, but I did want to point out that, speaking on the subject of stars, and were we on the subject of stars? We were on the subject of illumination. I was reading this book, Meister Eckhart. It's very, very good. Meister Eckhart was a 13th century Christian mystic, monk, cleric, and I read this last night. I wanted to share it with you guys because I was just talking about how the church closed, and so I said, okay, well, let's do church in the basement by the piano. And it made me think of how we have so many opportunities to be the church. Like, we ourselves are church. Yesterday, I went to an art show by one of my dear friends who also happens to be an adult student, Delia. Oh my gosh, was this a beautiful show? So she started to paint voraciously a couple of years ago, but then this summer she started to have these dreams. And they were so vivid that the only way that she could really get those feelings and sensations and images out was to start painting. And so, like, within a few months, she painted 100 canvases and had them on display in a beautiful show. And I think she has a website. You could see these paintings. They're called dreamspaintings.com. And so beautiful, the colors and flowers and beautiful nature around. And she was church to me yesterday, and I'll tell you why. Because I was really getting all insane because technology to try to put things together for live streams started to get the best of me, and I was so frazzled and kind of in a bad mood. But I went to this show, and her exuberance and her joy of living, and the way she said it, she said, every moment is so beautiful. When I wake up in the morning and I just look outside and I feel the warmth of the sun and I smell the freshness of the air, I feel so joyful because I am loved. And because I am loved, I can love. And I thought that was so beautiful, because no matter what, we are loved because we're loved by God. And so Eckhart, the 13th century monk, wrote this. He said, humans are meant to be a heaven for God to dwell in. Isn't that such an amazing thought, that we could be the heaven and we could take this heaven and impart it to others like Delia did for me yesterday? Isn't that something? We should be as fixed as the heavens are fixed. So fix ourselves on the things that are above, as the scripture says. So I thought, I just want to share that. So I hope that's okay. What do you think of Eckhart's statement? Do you like it, that we can actually be the heaven that God dwells in? Do you think that's something that we could strive for? I need a lot of work in that department, I'll tell you that. But, we're all works in progress, right? Okay, let's move on now to Oh Holy Night. I love this Christmas song. What's one of your favorite Christmas songs? Let me know in the chat. I want to know what your favorite Christmas songs are, because maybe if you let me know, I could prepare some for the next live stream. So, yes, Oh Holy Night, thinking about those wonderful stars in the sky and the manger scene and all the beauty that was that night. So let me just get ready. And here we go. Oh Holy Night. Okay. All right. So, love that Christmas song. Love that Christmas song. Nobody's writing in the chat. Guys, I want to hear from you. What is your favorite Christmas song? Do you have any favorites? Thank you, Annabelle. Oh my gosh, how beautiful you are. I miss you. Annabelle is my former student who's now flown the coop and gone to college. How is college, Annabelle? How have you been doing? She's been in Tennessee. God, I miss you. I do miss you. I love all my students. I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky to teach. I've been teaching since I was 16 years old. Gosh, it's a long time of teaching. And I love all my students. They're like my babies. Even my adult students. I love you guys, Joel and Karen, Mick, Rodney. They're in my special, I called it the Golden Tone Technique group. We're called the Goldies. So we all learn how to play with golden tone and technique. So I have more information about all these things on my website, which is thegrandmanor.com. And what is the Grand Manor? People always ask me, what's the Grand Manor? Is it a banquet hall? They all think it's a place to get married. Oh, thanks, Heather. Oh, it's nice to see you, Heather. Heather, are you in local or are you vacationing somewhere? Yeah, so what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. I've got adult ADD. I've come to realize that. I always lose my train of thought. Oh yeah, Grand Manor. People were asking me, what is Grand Manor? I don't know. To be honest with you, it's something of the past. You know, because I say I don't know. I do know it's a feeling, but it's hard to put into words. It's hard to articulate. So like you see these green curtains, that for me was the first step of the Grand Manor. Because I looked at 19th century. I've been obsessed, is probably the right word, with the music of Franz Liszt all my life. And he was very Grand Manor, and he taught his students to play in the Grand Manor fashion, which was with bold expression. And I thought, you know what? It's time for, in classical music, to just get the shackles off of, you know, always perfectionism or always playing like everything exactly to the score and being, you know, tied down, boxed in, and just to be free and to be poetic and to express broadly with bold expression and a beautiful, clear, passionate sound. And so there was a whole aesthetic behind that. So there was also in the way people seem to live, right? So they surrounded themselves with beautiful things, opulence. And it wasn't a question of expensive things. It was a question of what was important. So what was important was poetry. What was important was interesting conversation. What was important was the moment, because the moment is everything. So yeah, so I decided, okay, Grand Manor, I looked at some paintings from that time, and I saw Victorian stuff and the La Belle Epoque kind of style, and I thought, oh, I want to make curtains. So I watched every YouTube channel, which, by the way, I'm so grateful for YouTube. It's really college for me. I learned everything on YouTube. The University of YouTube taught me how to make curtains, and so I made curtains, and that started the Grand Manor. So you can check out more about Grand Manor on the website. Okay, how about some O Come, Emmanuel, which is, I love this piece of music. It's so smoky. The harmonies are so smoky in this piece. Okay, let's do it. Let's go. All right. love to linger at the end because you could hear the harmony. I call it the harmonies of the angels, the flutter of the angels' wings. I want to show you that. So it's a, I don't know, it's an effect. And a lot of it has to do with the tuning. I work with such an amazing, among his many talents is piano tuning. His name is Mark Wiener, and he tunes in such an incredibly, what's the word, extraordinary way to highlight these overtones, which are like flavors of sound. And if you kind of listen through the sound, it sounds like a haze. I always call it like the flutter of the wings of the angels. Right? Do you hear the angels? Okay. Let's see. Let me see the chat. Okay. So nice. Oh, foot surgery, Heather. Those things are painful. Oh, praying for quick recovery for you, my dear. My dear. Okay. So we are now on to Beethoven, right? Shall we do some Beethoven? What do you say? Yes. Well, you know Beethoven's birthday is in a few days. Yay. Happy birthday, Beethoven. 250 years young. I say years young because his music never gets old, right? Beethoven's music never gets old. I tell you, there's some composers that express, I think there was a quote one time. I think Chopin said it, actually. He said that he writes music to express the hearts of, men and women. There are other composers that write very emotional and passionate music about the human condition, about the heart. Beethoven does all those things, but he writes also about nature, elements, right? Like you can't listen to the fifth symphony, right, and not think, wow, that is pure elemental power. And I remember there was a quote that a student of the composer Berlioz, he heard the premiere back in, it must have been early 1800s, of the Fifth Symphony. And he had to leave the concert hall. Like he left, he was like all like hot and sweaty and excited and like breathless because he said, I've never heard music like this. There's so much energy in this music. And so, although the piece I'll play for you right now is not that kind of robust, energetic Beethoven, this is the more contemplative Beethoven. And I always think about, especially in this time, like, with the quarantining this year, is it just me? Oh, thanks, David Boba. Is it just me? Or do you find yourself like having a harder time to get out of the house? Like, I will find myself all day long. I'm just sitting around doing stuff, it's work, but I'll realize it's 9 p.m. and I never left the house. It's just ridiculous. But Beethoven, he did a lot, but he managed to get in 3 hours of outdoor walking time every day. He just put on whatever coat he had. He took his notebook. He took a pencil or whatever they wrote with. And he would just walk through the woods. He would listen to the birds and, although his hearing was not the best, but he would still get the vibrations of being outside in nature, and he would connect with nature. And then he would get these thoughts, ideas for next pieces, and he would scribble them out. And he had a notebook where he collected these ideas. And then, like a patchwork quilt, when it came time to composing, he would take out his notebook from these walks, the inspiration from nature, And then he would start cutting and pasting in those days, whatever, how he did it. And so he would write some measures in the beginning of the work, then he would go to the end and to the middle, and then he'd start filling in. Isn't that an amazing way to work? One day I'll show some of the Beethoven manuscripts, which are really something to see. Now, talk about messy. Like, that is impassioned process, working process. And now I'll play the slow movement from the Pathetique Sonata. I think that is one of the beloved Beethoven sonatas. And this is such a beautiful slow movement. Now, when people hear the Pathetique, like pathetic, they think, oh, it's the Pathetic Sonata. Pathetic. No. But it's actually not pathetic. It's the word pathos, which was about extreme emotion, extreme passion. So this is his Adagio Cantabile, which means to sing. And I don't know, what do you think about when you hear this? I could definitely hear one of Beethoven's walks in the woods in this one. Like, almost the flow of it is like one of those beautiful little German brooks you would see in the woods. My husband is German. I've had the great pleasure to visit Germany and take some hikes and walks in the woods. And I know there's something so magical about the woods there. So, yes, so close your eyes and imagine. Beethoven. Thank you, Beethoven. Gosh. What a great composer. There's so much beauty in the world. There's so much beauty to explore around us. Even the unexpected things. Sometimes people say, oh, I don't know anything about classical music. I don't like classical music. I don't know anything about classical music. But there's nothing to know. It's just to experience, feel. It just takes you away. Actually, there is some scientific evidence that suggests that music by Beethoven, especially, in particular, his slow movement from his Symphony No. 9, his last symphony, that it actually lowers the heart rate, that it helps people relax, to go to sleep, and just calms the whole nervous system. Actually, these composers, they're so great. They were alchemists. They used patterns to give people healing energy. For instance, Beethoven, who had so many issues with his health. I mean, we know about his deafness, but a lot of his issues were also digestive issues and, even immune disorder issues. He was incredibly suffering all the time, physically suffering, but yet bringing this music forth all the time, and we think about other composers as well. Schubert, right, who was also writing till his very last breath, and he died so young, 32. Or Chopin, right, tuberculosis, and still writing music, age 39, he died. These were incredible people. Incredible people. So now, this is especially for my friend Jamie Carr. Are you there, James Carr? There's some beautiful Christmas carols, and this is also for you, Bartek, and any other Polish people out there, even if you have a little bit of Polish in you. Oh my gosh. The Polish Christmas carols are so beautiful. They're just so beautiful, and even Chopin used some of them in his work. They were just mesmerizingly beautiful. I'd like to play one. It's also found on my Christmas album called Tender Christmas. It's some arrangements that I have done of a couple of Polish songs and some other well-known ones. You could see more details and sample it on the website below. But this is one called Fairest of Maidens, and it's just, even the words which are translated are so beautiful. Those harmonies are exquisite. So here are the words. It says, Fairest of maidens bore the infant this day, wrapped him in swaddling, covered him with sweet hay. Oh, hay so fragrant, hay pure like a lily. There lay the infant, Jesus, son of Mary. And then it goes on. Oh, why, dear maiden, must he rest on poor hay? Oh, pity, maiden, that the babe should lie there. Oh, hay, most sweet hay, honored flower holy, it was upon thee, Jesus lay so lowly. It's so beautiful just to think about even the hay. How holy was that hay, and that beautiful, tender scene on Christmas. So I hope you enjoy this. Sorry I have to keep leaning here. What you think, guys? Did you like that Polish song? Prayer Team Central. Aww. Oh, thank you, Pam. Prayer Team Central. You know what? There's nothing like prayer. I have to say, there's nothing like prayer. I remember when I made my New York recital debut back in 2000. I went to all-girls Catholic school. Liz, if you're still on the line, you'll appreciate this. So write something in the chat. And so there were Salesian nuns that were in the convent, and they taught in the high school, and it was all run by Salesians. It was super strict, but of course, we found ways to get in trouble. And anyway, so years later, when I gave my New York City recital debut, the nuns found out about it, especially my ultimate hero, Sister Rose McShane, who was always whipping me into shape and making me practice and everything in high school. And I remember I stepped out on stage and I looked at the front row and I saw a line of women dressed in black with the black, habits and the whole nun attire. I was so nervous when I stepped on stage, but the moment I saw the nuns, I said, oh, I could take a deep breath. They've got this covered. They've got their prayers on this. Thank you for the backup. Yes, prayer backup. And if any of you guys need prayer backup for anything, just DM me or even write in the chat if you so feel like it, because there are a lot of prayers that people are praying these days, a lot of prayer requests. And I started this one part of what I do called prayer piano, where prayer and music combines. There's so much spiritual messaging in especially the great music of the classical composers. And so I've been finding that when prayer and music come together, it's a magical alchemy. So let's see. My husband is here and he is giving me the cue that we should be wrapping it up. Is that right, Mark? Not wrap it up. Should we wrap it up, guys? She loved you. Aw, thanks, Liz. She was so great. I think about Sister Rose like every day these days. I think about that all the time. You know what? Why don't we end with "Great is Thy Faithfulness"? This is a hymn, and it's one of my favorite hymns because no matter what's going on, especially this year, where so much has been thrown at us, and personally, so many of us have experienced such great losses, it's easy to lose heart. And it reminds me of that passage in Scripture where the disciples were in a boat and it was a massive storm, and they were so scared, and they couldn't believe it, that it was so bad, and yet Jesus was sleeping, and they were almost upset. They were saying, Jesus, why are you asleep? We're in trouble here. The boat is in trouble. We're going to capsize. And how many of us this year have had that feeling, like that the whole world is capsizing, that, whether it's health or whether it's finances, jobs, our whole world, politics, everything has just been such a crescendo this year. But there's one rock, that we could always lean on, and that is the rock of God. And so Jesus responded to the disciples like, why are you worried? And he called the storm down. He calmed the seas. And I think about that all the time. How great is his faithfulness in your life. So no matter what you're going through right now, it's easy to lose heart. I just pray that this piece of music will just encourage you to know that you are backed up, because the God who's in back of you is greater than the giant in front of you. So whatever that giant is you're facing, whether it's, again, the health thing, or, your job has closed down again for the COVID, like, what about, restaurant workers, things like that. Or, even just family issues, and it's Christmas time, and, there's stuff that needs to get done, and there's just, it seems that there's more month than money, or, even no energy to get it all done, or even a lack of willingness to get things done, because a lot of people are just blue these days. But great is his faithfulness. Great is his faithfulness. Okay. Amen. All right. So let's do that. Okay. So forgive me for leaning over. This is technology here. Technology. Okay, here we go. Joining this humble broadcast. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Let me know if everything was to your liking, if the audio visuals were good. Let me know if you enjoyed the music, if there's anything else you would like to hear. Yes, it does mean the world to us. My husband is chatting. It does mean the world to us that you would spend your Sunday with us. Thank you so much, Pam. God bless. To God the glory, as J.S. Bach said. To God the glory. He wrote all his music for God's glory. And, it's not for stardom, right? Like a lot of times music is used for human glory, right? But it's for God's glory. So, to God be the glory. And I hope this has made a positive difference in your day. And I would love to just stay in touch with you. So please drop me an email at margaretwasick@gmail.com, or you could find me on the website below. And I feel like until Christmas, let's do more live streaming. And if you would like that, just let me know. And if there's any particular pieces of music that you would like to hear or styles, I will do my best to try to accommodate. Um, especially around Christmas time, if there are any particular Christmas songs that mean something to you, please let me know. And we will do that before Christmas. So thank you so much for joining. God bless, God keep you, and see you very soon. Okay, bye everyone.